So the mystery of 2016 as it becomes 2017, in a few days we're beginning the new year. It's going to be the year of the rooster, the fire rooster. So I'm asking myself, this is me personally in my essays, my works and the documentary, it's clear to me that these people had it all set that their groups were going to win the election in the US. They were defeated, but they don't know by who or how. They're just thinking about it. So they say, oh, the Russians. Obviously it's not the Russians, so we can say no to that. So they're thinking, well, maybe, or maybe we're thinking, is there a more highly advanced group or culture that's helping humans from the future? Is a group from the future actually coming to us and say, we need to help you shift the direction in one way or another? So what I'm saying is the Russians are not interfering with elections or anything really in the Western world. It's another group that's helping, I think. So you need to consider maybe that the future, from the future, can change the equations and the directions of our world now. So that's the mystery of the coming year, the rooster year. So we were visiting Emporion, which is connected in our knowing to Santorini and the fall of Atlantis. So we looked at Asclepius, the Iberians, the Phoenicians, the traders, the transport civilizations. It's clear that we are the result here of a giant cataclysmic event or series of events. I actually know there were series. There were fewer 3,000 years ago, 5,000, 10,000 years ago. We're really beginning to think maybe in average every 2,500 years more or less something goes down. And so we looked at the Western astrology, at the asteroids, the mythology, and we find that everything is based on what the Greek or Phoenician mythology was about. But it wasn't mythology. I believe they were being visited, and what they call gods were a form of ETs. Who in the world would have brought them this advanced medicine that they had? When you think about it, they had very advanced arts, they had advanced architecture. I mean, they were doing things that we could today not do on our own, when you really think of it. So the decline set in after the Minoan culture disappeared, and so here we're sitting at El Far on the lighthouse, and we had said already, we've been doing ceramics here for 5,000 years. That's big. So we also have to keep in mind this place here was then later the stronghold of the Khazars, and 100 years later the Templars, who are quite clearly an outgrowth or development of the Khazars. And they were in their own way the breakaway civilization of that time, right? This was a typical breakaway civilization. They had their Templar commanders all over Europe and then across the Mediterranean and all over the world. Like I said jokingly, they were the CIA of that time. But they were really bankers as well. They were inventing the low-tech guarantee credit commercial system so that the gold didn't have to be carted around and be in danger. And so they had their own networks, their own radiant zones, their own universities. In a way, they even had their own little black economy going. And eventually they become the bankers of the kings. So, in other words, they were the Federal Reserve of that time. Out there. This is the Kalelala front. Palamos is behind. The cove over there, that's the major harbor, Palamos. This is Palafrugell, inland, a pretty big city.